Hey everybody, this is Madam Molly and welcome back to your weekly Tarot Insights. This is Tarot Insights for October 17th to the 23rd. Keep in mind, I pull 3 cards for the week. The first card represents the first part of the week, second card represents middle of the week, and the last card talks about how the week will wind out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 cards for this week. This week we start with the Six of Swords, which for me talks about reviewing our old ideas and our old ideals. These are often passed on to us from grandparent to parent to child. And, from an anthropological point of view, our stories are carried on for thousands of years, and oftentimes we don't know why we believe what we believe. These are just things that we've been taught, and our parents were taught, and our grandparents were taught, on and on and on. And it's time this week to take a look at what it is we believe in regards to finance, in regards to self-worth, in regards to religion, spirituality, education, all of these things. It's time to determine whether the ideas we have about how family works, how our friendships are going, if these things are actually working for us. And as we're taking the time at the beginning of the week to look at these things, it's important to determine what's not working for us and take a look at why we believe those things. And if we don't have any really strong reasons why we personally believe them, other than that's what our parents believed, that's what our grandparents believed, that's what our teachers taught us, then maybe it's time to set those aside and determine what it is we do believe, what is important to us as far as our ideas and our ideals. As we move into the second part of the week, the mid part, we have the Chariot. And for me, the Chariot is all about determining the direction you wish to go with your life, being able to make strong moves in any particular direction. Sometimes when we have a lot of old ideas and ideals that are handed down to us from a variety of different people, they don't help us move in a direction that works for us. So after you've gone through the process of kind of looking at what's not working and holding on to what is, it's time to make some determinations. Are you going to choose to move in a different direction? Are you going to sit still where you're at and kind of be stymied a little bit? This card, the Chariot, indicates to me that it's time to move forward and that you've kind of gotten things worked out so that you know which direction to take, and it's not going to be something that's difficult and that you're held back by old beliefs with. So now that we've gotten through the middle of the week and we're moving on towards the end, we're going to take a look at the Hermit as our rounding out. The Hermit is interesting in this spread because this talks about having made a determination to kind of break out on your own and take your own path, which actually follows through with the other 2 cards really well, because as you've determined where you're going midweek and that you are actually in fact in charge of where you're going and that you are the driver of your own chariot, now you're moving forward in a way that takes you to higher realms of either new intellectual ideas, new spiritual ideas, things that serve you but may not necessarily serve anyone else. The Hermit often appears as though he's alone and kind of with no one around him, but what you need to take in mind is that he's on his own path. He still carries a beacon of light and says, hey, this is the direction I'm taking. You're more than welcome to follow me, but it's not necessary at this point for you to look for people to follow along with what it is that you believe or how you believe. And it's not necessary for you to stay attached to these old ideas of how to interact in the world. So as we look at that, I'm going to pull one more card for guidance on how to kind of get through this determination of what's working and what's not working, because some of us may not even recognize that things aren't working or that they haven't been our own ideas, that they've been things that we've been taught over several generations in many cases, and they don't necessarily serve us. A great example of this, ideas that don't serve us anymore, is grandparents that lived through the Depression, having had to live in a situation where they didn't have everything that they thought they needed, or maybe didn't have everything that they actually needed. So they had to be very conservative in how they used the resources that they did have. And as they were raising their children, they things started to get better, but then World War II came along, and they were easily able to live through the rationing of World War II, and yet they taught their children about things that, like holding on to lots and lots of extra toilet paper and things that are important but oftentimes hard to come by in either the Depression era or World War II era. Now we've got children my age and my children who've been taught to live in a state of lack because our parents and our grandparents grew up with that mindset. And it's time for us to really, really reassess that and ask ourselves, do we live in a place of lack? Or is this genuinely something that we can change by our thoughts being changed? Can we look around and be more appreciative? And I don't like the word gratitude because gratitude tends to have connotations of, well, thank you very much. I'm so happy I have a house and it's the worst one ever and I really wish it was better. That's the kind of feel I have with gratitude. But when you're genuinely appreciating something, you are able to feel like it is something of value. So kind of go forward with that. So here's the card for some guidance on how to move through this reassessment of what's important to you this week. And that is the Sun card. I know I said I would pull 3 cards for the week, and last week I pulled a clarification card, and this week I've pulled a clarification card. The Sun says to me that all is well. The sun isn't going to stop shining. Things aren't going to get that bad for you. Even if things are looking kind of dismal from your point of view, it's how you view things. It's what's important to you. It's those ideas that you've carried forward from generations past or from recent experience. However it is you've developed those ideas and ideals of what's important to you in life, it's about appreciating what is there, even if it's as simple as, thank you, universe, the sun's still shining. It's not as bad as it could be. So that's our tarot insights for the week of October 17th through the 23rd. As always, check out my site at www.madammollies.com, and I'll look for you next week.